In today's Final Touch, we take you to a restaurant built entirely out of ice, and people love it.
The restaurant is part of the Harbin China's annual ice festival. The temperatures inside the restaurant are below zero, but diners enjoyed hot pots and threw back vodka. The hot pot steam fills the air. Beer froze within 20 seconds. Kind of fun.
That'd be very cool to see.
All right, that's our time for now. Thanks for watching. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, in his first full day in office, Governor Tony Evers taking action, how he's fulfilling his campaign promise of making health care more affordable.
How local breweries are feeling the impact of the partial...
The city of Madison could be expanding Olin Park. We'll tell you how.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3 tonight. Governor Tony Evers says it's important to him that he follows through on campaign.
Just a day after he was sworn in, Governor Evers has already signed 4 executive orders. Rose Schmidt is here to tell us more about day 1 on the job. Rose?
Well, the 2 orders Governor Evers signed today are related to health care. They stop short of some of the promises he made during his run last year. But at an event in La Crosse this morning, the new governor said he will follow through on his promise to accept federal Medicaid expansion money. One order he signed today directs state agencies to make plans to protect people with pre-existing conditions. And the other calls for the Department of Health Services to develop a plan making sure people have access to health care by expanding Medicaid.
Clearly, the issue of health care and affordable and accessible health care is something that is truly important to the people that came to us in the La Crosse area, but frankly across the state.
And following his inauguration ceremony yesterday, Evers signed an order banning discrimination of state workers based on gender identity and sexual orientation, and another that calls for respecting state employees. Evers also announced plans to send a letter soon to ask Attorney General Josh Kaul to withdraw Wisconsin from a lawsuit to end the Affordable Care Act. But withdrawing would require approval from the Republican-controlled state legislature.
Rose Schmidt in the News Center. Rose, thank you.
All right, there was some sun out there for a bit today, but the wind has sent quite the chill through the air. Your first alert weather now. Dave Caulfield's on the weather patio. Dave?
Yeah, Eric, I think that sunshine got blown away along with basically the rest of southern Wisconsin today, with a wind advisory still in effect for some of us and wind gusts of 35 to 45 miles per hour being reported throughout the day across the area. Doppler track showing a few flurries to the north and west of Madison, but really nothing that is going to accumulate. But don't be surprised if we see just a few snowflakes, or see is kind of a nice way of putting it. A couple of snowflakes may be blown in your face at times. Downtown Madison on the Edgewater Skycam looking at partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies right now. Temperatures have fallen into the upper 20s in the Dells, mid-30s in Madison. We are in the upper 30s in Janesville. I actually just saw a couple of those snowflakes I was talking about. Wind advisory, as I mentioned, for the counties you see shaded in brown until 9 p.m. tonight. Here are some of those wind gusts. Currently 35 to 45 miles per hour, a little bit stronger to the south and west. And wind chills, it feels like 22 in Madison, feeling like 11 in Camp Douglas, and 17 right now in the Wisconsin Dells. Temperatures and winds over the next 12 hours will fall through the 20s into the teens, and it could feel like we're below zero to start off Wednesday. We'll talk about the resurgence of winter and how long these colder temperatures will last in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Dave, thank you. The jury trial underway for a Marshall man accused of killing 21-year-old Jesse Faber last January 15th. 60-year-old Daniel Leeske charged with first-degree intentional homicide. Faber's body was found in a Rio storage unit rented by Leeske. He had been shot multiple times. Leeske told authorities he did kill Faber but acted in self-defense when he claims Faber attacked him without provocation. When investigators questioned him, Leeske told them he doesn't remember much because he was drinking.
Everybody left. I was talking to Jesse. I thought Jesse was going, that kid that came with me, he didn't want to go with them. That's what he came over to my house then. And I remember that. He came over to my house, and we didn't really talk a lot, you know. We didn't really say a lot. You know, he went outside. I remember him wanting to smoke in the house. I said, "You gotta go outside to have a cigarette," you know, and I had to pee. And when I came back, he was gone. I said.
Leeske and his girlfriend, Michelle Goss, both pleaded guilty in recent weeks to hiding Faber's body.
A 26-year-old man has been charged with strangling his parents' neighbor and hiding her body in the basement of her Pewaukee condo. 26-year-old Adrian Thomas is accused of killing 56-year-old Joanne Curley on New Year's Eve. A criminal complaint says Curley's body was found wrapped in a tarp in a large garbage bag under a mattress in the basement. Prosecutors say Thomas may have been secretly living in the victim's attic and after the murder stayed at the victim's condo. Prosecutors say he is also wanted in Arizona. Thomas's bond was set at $1 million.
Senator Tammy Baldwin has asked Air Force investigators to look into allegations of sexual assault and harassment within a Wisconsin Air National Guard unit that were brushed aside by senior officers. Senator Baldwin sent a letter to the Air Force office asking it to investigate the claims involving members of the 115th Fighter Wing's Security Forces Squadron, which polices the Truax Field Air National Guard Base in Madison. Senator Baldwin made the request after receiving a letter from Jay Ellis, a master sergeant in the security squadron. Ellis wrote that he learned of 6 incidents of sexual harassment or sexual assault against female members of the squadron that happened between 2002 and 2016. Madison police investigating an armed robbery overnight at an Eastside gas station. Officers called to the Kelly's Market on Shopco Drive just after 10 last night after a man went into the store with a gun, took money before taking off. Anyone with information about the robbery is asked to call Madison Police. The number, 255-2345, or Madison Area Crime Stoppers at 608-266-6014.
A Madison man is facing a felony charge after allegedly driving drunk with a minor in his vehicle. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says 49-year-old Roy Bergen was pulled over at 12:05 this morning in the city of Madison for driving with a revoked license. The deputy conducting the traffic stop arrested Bergen on his 3rd offense of operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. Bergen was also driving with a passenger under the age of 16. He was then arrested on a felony OWI charge and cited for operating a vehicle with a revoked license.
Well, if you like beer or wine, you might not like this news. The government shutdown is affecting many agencies across the state, even local breweries.
Jamie Perez spoke with some breweries in our viewing area and shows how the 3rd week of the government shutdown is having an impact.
CJ Hall is a brand new business owner.
Yep, the real deal right here.
He helped open Full Mile Beer in December, so it's been
Roughly 3 weeks.
about as long as the government shutdown has been in effect.
Yeah.
Like many people in the country, he's faced some challenges that come with the government shutdown.
Since we just opened 3 weeks ago, this is the first time we ended up having to actually file our federal quarterly tax.
We know the IRS is part of that shutdown. We also know we are all still responsible for filing our taxes, shutdown or not. But as a new business owner,
Or I had some questions on it, so I hopped on the website, found the 1-800 number, called, and then got the recorded message.
Due to the current budget situation, all IRS offices are closed. We will resume normal operations as soon as possible.
with no help on that front, he did the best he could.
We filed our taxes the way we thought we should and submitted them, and if they're wrong, I'm sure someone will tell us at some point. But
Filing taxes for new breweries is just one issue.
people can't get their beer labels approved.
While Full Mile doesn't label or distribute its own bottles, Delta Beer Lab plans to. That is, when they open in February. They sent us this statement, how the shutdown will affect them, saying, quote, "The Trump shutdown is bad for business, federal employees, and is simply inefficient. We have secured our permit, but are being held up from gaining label approval for packaged products from the Federal Tax and Trade Bureau. We will not be able to sell cans when we open in February." Delta Beer Lab is not alone. Breweries across the country have been highlighted in news stories sharing how the shutdown has impacted their ability to sell, all of which have to go through the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. On their website, they say they won't be able to respond to any questions or requests, and their operations will go back to normal when the shutdown is over. In the meantime,
If it continues, I think the biggest issue I see is really it's going to be the backlog of questions, of any sort of taxes being filed.
it's business owners like CJ that are now just playing the waiting game. In Sun Prairie, Jamie Perez, WISC News 3.
And we will hear more about the status of the government shutdown later tonight.
A local restaurant holding a fundraiser in honor of fallen Lake Mills Fire Captain Chris Truman. Right now, Culver is holding a fundraiser at its Lake Mills location. 10% of proceeds will be donated to the Lake Mills Fire Department. Captain Truman was hit by a car on the Beltline on New Year's Eve while helping someone on the side of the road. The fundraiser goes until 10 tonight.
The city of Madison could soon be expanding Olin Park, opening up an area of the shoreline that has been private for more than 60 years.
Now, the cost of that land, $5.5 million. Amanda Quintana live near Olin Park with more on the resolution being introduced tonight. Amanda?
Yes, well, if you've walked along Lake Monona, maybe not on such a windy night, but if you walk along it, you know when you get here to John Nolan Drive that you kind of have to loop around, and that's because of this building right here. Now, that could soon change. The Wisconsin Medical Society has been in this building since 1955. The space has become too big for the group. They're moving, and they want to sell the land. That includes 450 feet of shoreline. They want to sell it to the city so everyone else can enjoy the view. Tonight, Alder Alan Arnson is going to introduce that idea to City Council.
I think people recognize that this is a really good thing for the city. You know, people will be interested in, okay, how's it going to be improved along the way, but recognize that that's down the road, and there will be a public process with.
For now, the resolution would just involve buying the land and opening it up to the public. The money would come from park impact fees. Now, that's money set aside to develop some parklands just like this. Arnson says that fund currently has about $12,000 in it. Now, tonight he's just going to introduce that, so there's not going to be any voting or anything. It would still need to go to the Parks Commission. They would vote on it, and then City Council would have to vote on it. But the CEO here tells me that if it all goes well, the sale could close by next month.
All right, Amanda Quintana live at Olin Park. Amanda, thank you.
A biotechnology company plans to add more than 100 new jobs at its facility in southern Wisconsin. New Jersey-based Catalent announced yesterday a nearly $100 million investment to expand its Madison location over the next 3 years. The company develops and manufactures pharmaceutical products made from living cells instead of chemicals at the Madison facility. It will be the second expansion of operations there in about 2 years. A spokeswoman says the expansion will include a 60,000 square foot addition at the Madison site. It's expected to be complete by 2021.
Giordano's, the popular Chicago-based deep dish pizza chain, intends to open a location here in Madison. Giordano's website says the chain plans to bring locations to Madison and Kenosha, south of Milwaukee. There are currently no locations at all in Wisconsin. The restaurant first opened in 1974 on Chicago's south side, known for deep dish pizza, stuffed pizza, salads, pastas, and more. Giordano's has since grown to have more than 50 locations nationwide. More to come on News 3 at 5. Up next, the second man has been charged with fatally shooting a 7-year-old in Texas.
President Trump will address the American people tonight to make a case for a $5.7 billion border wall.
And the markets continue an upward trend this week. The Dow jumps more than 256 points. The Nasdaq had 73.5. The S&P up 25. We'll be right back. Authorities say a second man has been charged in the fatal drive-by shooting of a 7-year-old Houston girl whose death her family had initially believed was racially motivated.
The Harris County Sheriff's Office says 24-year-old Larry Woodruff was charged today with capital murder in the December 30th slaying of Jasmine Barnes. Woodruff and Eric Black Jr. were both taken into custody on Saturday. While Black was charged on Sunday, authorities didn't charge Woodruff until additional information and evidence had been collected. Authorities say Woodruff and Black mistakenly thought they were attacking people they had previously fought at a club with when they fired at the car containing Jasmine and her family.
The president will make his first primetime Oval Office address tonight as the federal government reaches day 18 now of the partial shutdown. President Trump expected to make a case for why he needs $5.7 billion to fund a barrier at the southern border. Democrats are drawing the line at $1.3 billion for border security. This week they plan to pass measures in the House to reopen parts of the government not affiliated with Homeland Security. The GOP-controlled Senate so far has not shown a willingness to put those measures on the floor. The White House also looking for other ways to fund the president's border priorities, including a declaration of a national emergency.
He'll be laying out the facts to the American people of what is a genuine humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border.
If he tries to do something that is fundamentally illegal and not authorized by statute, he'll be challenged.
You can watch the president's speech right here at 8 tonight. Democrats will deliver a rebuttal tonight and say if the president's past statements are any indication, his remarks will be full of malice and misinformation.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un made a surprise trip to China this week, just days after President Trump announced a possible second summit with the country. Many analysts see the trip as a strategy meeting between the two nations before Kim faces President Trump again. The pair met in a historic summit last year and agreed to work toward peace and denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. There have been few signs of progress. Kim's visit to China comes as a U.S. delegation is in Beijing trying to end the trade war between the world's two largest economies.
All right, a few moments ago, we talked about that wind out there, and we saw basically whitecaps on Lake Mendota. Dave Caulfield, we've sent him back out there to enjoy that wind once more. Dave?
Yeah, I have to brace myself sometimes when that wind comes through, Eric and Susan, because with gusts of about 40 to 45 miles per hour throughout the day, this wind is not to be messed with, and it will stay with us into tomorrow, calming down a little bit, but still, it will be a windy Wednesday and a colder Wednesday for us. Doppler track showing a few snowflakes out and about across southern Wisconsin, but nothing that's going to accumulate. But don't be surprised if we do see a few flurries over the next few hours. They should wrap up by pretty early this evening. Downtown Madison, the Edgewater Skycam, still looking at mostly cloudy skies. The almanac for today may not have seemed like it with that wind being what it was, but highs today were in the low 40s, and that's still about 15 degrees above normal. So far, 2019, especially in January, has not been snowy at all, and it's been very, very warm to start 2019. If the month ended today, the 0.4 inches of snow in January would be the second least snowiest January on record. But again, we still have plenty of time to hopefully get some more snowflakes. I know a lot of businesses are really struggling and wanting that snow to fall, and we could use a little bit more. Hopefully, by the time we get to Friday and Saturday, some snow will accumulate, but it's not looking all that promising right now. And wow, look at this start to January. If the month ended today, it would be the third warmest January on record. We're on pace for that right now, about 12.5 degrees above where we should be, average temperature-wise, compared to where we should be in January. Temperatures right now are a little bit closer to where you'd expect them to be, down to 33 in Madison, the upper 20s in the Dells, still in the upper 30s in Janesville. But boy, oh boy, with those wind gusts of about 35 to 45 miles per hour in some spots in northeastern Iowa, those wind gusts have eclipsed 50 miles per hour. That wind advisory in effect for the counties you see shaded in brown until 9 tonight. It is making it feel like the 20s and teens outside, even some single digits a little bit closer to La Crosse. And wind chills overnight and to start Wednesday,
could be below 0, and that is the case for Thursday morning as well. So winter is definitely here for the next couple of days, with highs in the mid to upper 20s. Then we're back into the 30s for Friday and Saturday, and closer to 40 by the time we get into the start of next week. For tonight, windy and colder, becoming partly cloudy. Temperatures will be in the mid-teens. Again, we could start off tomorrow below 0 in the wind chill department. For tomorrow, temperatures will only be in the low 20s, so below normal for the first time all year. Mostly sunny, colder, and windy. Any flurries getting out of here quickly this evening, and then the clouds are also getting out of here. By the time we get into tomorrow, I think we'll see mostly sunny skies, but that sunshine can't save our temperatures from being in the 20s and also our wind chills being in the teens for much of the day. Another chilly start on Thursday morning, but before we get there, Wednesday morning, here are some future track wind chill numbers. -6 in Madison, -10 in Camp Douglas, so a very chilly start to the day for tomorrow. Keep that in mind for the kids at the bus stop and as you're getting ready to head out to work or school. Your 7 to 10 day forecast showing those temperatures steadily warming up into the 30s by the weekend and then close to 40 by next Tuesday. Again, a couple of flurries and some snow showers possible late Friday into Saturday. Right now, doesn't look like any major accumulations will come out of that. Here's your first alert traffic update. John Nolan Drive and the Beltline is running smoothly in both directions. Not too many delays to talk about, which is good news across Dane County. Traffic is generally heading out at the posted speeds, although a few delays still showing up closer to the Beltline at Park Street and Rimrock Road eastbound. But everything's showing up green right now, at least eastbound on the Beltline. Some other routes in and around Madison. There were some stalls on 151 closer to Sun Prairie last hour, but those have lifted. 18 minutes, so that's looking good with an average speed of around 30 miles per hour. And that's your first alert traffic update. This wind comes with us tomorrow. I'm telling you, it was tough to be outside today. You're just getting blown around everywhere.
Yeah, I'll just stay out there a little longer, Dave. Let us know how it's going.
Hang in there, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Ahead at 5, the annual CES convention underway in Las Vegas. We'll show you the televisions of the future when we come back. The annual CES Tech Show in Las Vegas started today. Several companies debuting as we speak.
This year, dimensions are bigger, pictures are brighter, and screens are more rollable than ever before. CNET's Kara Suboy reports.
Curved TV screens are making waves at the annual CES Technology Conference in Las Vegas. Using 268 OLED TVs, LG showed off its bendable screens in a mesmerizing display that stretched from floor to ceiling. But the technology is being scaled down for the living room and used to make a 65-inch screen shrink down to nothing.
LG has this TV that can roll up into a little box and completely disappear. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It's actually a motorized television that goes up and down.
LG says the TV has been tested to 50,000 roll-ups or downs and plans on selling this model in the second half of 2019. 8K TVs will also hit the market for the first time in 2019. Samsung's Q900 85-inch 8K TV will cost $15,000.
A price Samsung says is justified for 4 times the resolution of a 4K TV.
Sony upped its game with an 8K TV model that comes in just 2 huge sizes, 85 and 98 inches.
TV makers are going to tell you the really big TVs like these 88 and 98-inch sizes require the 8K resolution, but nobody really buys TVs that big. There really isn't any 8K TV shows or movies right now.
Jumbo scoreboards inspired Samsung's latest display technology called Micro LED, which consists of millions of little LED light sources.
This thing can also be modular. You can build it in a bunch of different shapes and sizes. They showed a 219-inch version. Again, something that's not going to come to market really soon, and when it does, it'll be really expensive, but it's a good glimpse of the future.
For the latest news from CES, go to cnet.com. In Las Vegas, I'm Kara Suboy with CNET for CBS News.
And stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
Wind is the big story tonight.
Yeah, it's not really letting up for tonight, and even into tomorrow. We still do have a wind advisory until 9 p.m. for Dane County, and areas to the south. Temperatures are in the 20s and 30s, and wind chills because of that strong northwesterly wind are going to dip through the teens into the single digits. By the time we start off tomorrow, it could feel like below zero across southern Wisconsin, and temperatures tomorrow are going to remain chilly with highs in the low 20s at best. At least we'll have some sunshine, but even that can't help us get out of the low 20s. We'll be in the 30s with a chance of some flurries and light snow by the time we get to Friday and Saturday.
All right, Dave, thanks. Stay tuned for the CBS Evening News, and we'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 at 6.